Imagine you're digging a canal. Would you do your digging with a backhoe or hire workers with shovels? If you want to get the job done at lower cost, you'd rent a backhoe. But if you wanted to maximize employment on the project, you might give your workers shovels. And if you were desperate to create jobs, you might toss out the shovels entirely and force your workers to use spoons. Politicians and entrepreneurs face different problems. Entrepreneurs care about creating wealth, both for their customers and themselves. This means getting more output with fewer inputs. Politicians often care more about maximizing inputs, like labor, even when that job creation could make all of us materially worse off. It would be easy for the President and Congress to create new jobs. They could simply ban the use of computers, farm machinery, or any other labor-saving device. But that would clearly raise the prices of airline tickets, food, and banking services, and it's hard to see how that improves the average person's standard of living. The $780 billion stimulus plan was supposed to alleviate this spike in unemployment, but it hasn't worked out as the White House has predicted. The president's new plan would divert federal funds to the explicit task of job creation, on the idea that federal spending has a multiplier effect that leads to an expansion of economic output and thus net new employment. But it doesn't usually work out that way. A report from the International Monetary Fund recently found that fiscal stimulus may be counterproductive in highly indebted countries. The U.S. debt-to-GDP ratio is as high as it's been since just after World War II, and it's on track to grow even more in the coming years. Also, increases in government spending are associated with lower levels of employment and vice versa, even with long lags in changes in employment. It's easy to see that new government spending, rather than being a driver of growth, is actually a drag on output and employment. A major impediment to new job creation is the regulatory burden in the United States. A comprehensive study of the cost of regulation produced by the Small Business Administration found that regulatory costs were $1.75 trillion in 2008. That was about 14% of GDP. The report also showed that regulatory costs are about 36% greater for small firms, where most new jobs are created, than for large firms. Regulation is a hidden tax on both employment and productivity growth, and agencies such as the EPA, the SEC, and the IRS don't have truly independent economists evaluating the costs and benefits of their own regulations. Even regulations that have yet to be implemented or written are creating a poor environment for job creation. New rules tied to the president's own health care law and financial regulation are leaving employers less likely to hire. If the president wants widespread and sustainable job creation, he should reverse course and cut spending by at least 20%. Federal spending has grown by 30% just since 2008. Pledge no further tax increases on labor and capital, the inputs for a growing economy. And freeze all new regulations until each proposed regulation has undergone a full, competent, and independent cost-benefit study subject to outside legal challenge. These three measures would remove much of the uncertainty job creators face and give them the confidence they need to hire their fellow Americans.